You know how when you wake up in the morning, perfect plan, everything's gonna go smoothly, and then all of a sudden the weather changes and your whole plan completely changes? Surprise!
Merry Christmas! We bought a baler picker.
Yeah, we came to the auction up here at Tennessee Tractor. No plans to buy anything. Just come up here to see what the equipment's going for. And then the rain clouds opened up, had a very thin crowd. And then knew they had two module pickers up here. Got this one right here. And then had another one over there. The other one looked like complete garbage, but actually this one was pretty tight. It is a little bit older one. 2010 model, but it's got low hours, only got I think 1,700 fan hours, and for 12 years old that's not bad. And looked it over real good, looked over the heads was pretty good and tight, surprisingly, so that was going to save me some money. And then, you know, back here, I don't know, but I mean the belts look good, everything else looks good. Talked with several people, said probably need to change some bearings in the rotors and stuff, but overall, you know, other than a little bit of cosmetic damage, the rest of it looks pretty good. It has not been cleaned up from the field, so we got a real good look at it in running condition. No obvious, major oil leaks and everything. I mean, everything looks pretty good on it. And then Kelly and I told ourselves that, well, I mean, we're not planning on buying one. We're gonna keep our picker another year, but if it goes low enough,
It went low enough.
and it went low enough. So anyway, we're gonna get this thing back home. Got a long drive down 412. I'll give you a little bit closer run around. I'll give you a little bit closer look at it. Once we get it home and I've got my GoPro and everything and can do a little bit better job filming. But yeah.
And we have a job for Carter now to clean it up. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, now I got another cotton picker to clean up this fall. But yeah, we own a baler picker. Bye-bye module builders. Got 2,400 engine hours, 1,776 fan hours. For a 2010 model, that is very low hours. As long as nothing happens to it, this thing should last us a long time. If I can get a little bit more speed out of it with 16 miles an hour, it's gonna be a long trip home. Welcome to Crockett County, your new home, where you'll be spending, hopefully the next 10 to 15 years of your life. Well, finally made it. Oh, girl, please don't be jealous. You'll always be my first 6 row. Get this thing under the shed where all this trash on it can start drying out. See if we can get it folded up. I don't know how to do it.
Okay. Okay, move this side by side.
He's fine. All right, put it in harvest mode over there.
Where?
It's gonna be on the screen. That's not touch screen. You got to use these buttons up here at the top, or this dial right here. There we go. All right, there we go. Hit that harvest mode right here. Let's go over here and transport. All right, that's what we need. All right, looks like we use C and D on the tether. All right, let's leave it there. All right, got the accumulator going up. And the light's going. All right, Carter, you got any ramp? We can go pick some cotton right now.
Not being funny, you're not being funny.
All right, guys, it's a little dark, a little damp, a little nasty to be giving you a tour of this thing now. Wait till probably tomorrow we got some daylight, give you a little bit better look, and we'll take a closer look at it and see what we got to work with. All right, it's the next day. A little bit better weather, not pouring down rain outside. Even if it is a little chilly. Thought I'd give y'all a quick walk around and tell you what my plans are on this 2010 John Deere 7760 round baler cotton picker. But first, before we do that, I got a story to tell you about what happened to us the other night. Not a good story either. Not a story about farm equipment, but a story about my truck. Anyway, my GMC, my running around truck, broke down on us. We had gone to farmer all of last week, and my GMC was running fine. Got back Thursday night, Friday morning, my truck, the GMC, would not start. Spent all day working on it, don't know what the problem is. But anyway, I was using this to run back and forth to Humboldt to pick up parts. You know, this thing's so expensive to operate, you know, we just use it mainly to haul stuff and as an emergency backup, and that's what it's doing. So normally I keep it parked here in this equipment shed. You know, we're over here beside my house, but because it was the only truck running, I parked it in the driveway right beside our house. Anyway, late Friday night, about 12:15, Kelly and I lay in bed, getting ready to go to bed. I was watching something on my phone, had my earphones on, and Kelly was over there looking at something. All the lights out and everything, and all of a sudden we heard boom, my truck firing up. Well, Kelly heard it first because I had my headphones on, and anyway, it took a minute to register that my truck was starting, and then thought, well, maybe Carter went down there. And all of a sudden, I mean, we heard it backing down the driveway. She popped up in bed, yelling at me, "Truck's being stolen, truck's being stolen." I grabbed my pistol, hunting for my shoes, looked out the window, flying down the driveway, and then started tearing down the road before I could get any shots off or anything. First thing I did, call 911, got the sheriffs out here to get the report. We posted on social media immediately after, had some pictures of the truck, posted that on there. And anyway, really never expected to see this truck again. A Saturday, we had to go to that, still had to go to that auction. Yeah, right before we got to the picker, Kelly saw on Facebook, she got the message that someone had heard on the scanner that our truck had been found over in Trenton. And
no, actually the guy who found it was the one who messaged me. So the guy was sitting at Dollar General. They were inside getting snacks at Dollar General, and the guy saw the truck and messaged me, "Hey, this is your truck, I'm gonna follow them." They called the police, and that guy followed that truck to the next house they were going to until the police got there. So thank you to John Allen. He's the one who found it.
Huge thanks. So anyway, there's 4 guys in the truck. One of them took off running. They got the other 3 guys in custody. The guy that actually stole the truck, or they believe actually stole the truck, got him in custody. One is still at large and hunting for him. So we got the truck back, but we don't have the truck back all in one piece.
Don't be
It's just
touching
what they
nothing.
did to my truck, and it was not this way when they picked it up.
All the panels came off.
Apparently they had some munchies, they got a bunch of snacks, got some chargers. They ripped my dash off because I had you know, my GPS antenna for my receiver right there. They ripped one of my toolboxes off the side, apparently to make it less distinctive, because you just don't see that many trucks with dual side toolboxes. A license plate holder off the front, ripped that off. Thankfully they threw it in the back rather than the weeds. I was mighty fond of that license plate. They ripped the panel off down here, ripped up the floor mat, I guess probably looking for another GPS receiver, and just completely trashed. I'm not even touching that stuff. Ain't no
Don't touch
it
it.
probably got hepatitis.
Actually, they said there's a bag full of needles in here somewhere.
Yeah, the sheriff said there's a bag full of needles. Left 2 cell phones. So sheriff's gonna come out here tomorrow and get all the stuff out for evidence or whatever. They took the memory card out of my receiver there. Luckily they did leave the owner's manual.
Yeah.
Completely threw everything out of my glove box.
The guy did have an old credit card that you had sitting in there in his wallet. So now we have to check everything with that too.
That number's no good.
Yeah, but I still don't trust it.
So anyway, we did get the truck back. I'm thankful we got the truck back, but might have been better off, because I was actually planning on trading this truck off here shortly, probably within the next 6 months. And now I'm going to have it fixed, and since it's been stolen, it's probably going to be a little bit harder to sell. I mean, these 6-liter Ford diesels, not worth much anyway. I mean, they're probably the least desired truck in America, so really wasn't worth a whole lot anyways. And now that it's been stolen, I'm going to have it fixed, and I don't know what that's going to do to the value. But we were able to get some security camera footage of them stealing trucks, so that's going to be used evidence against them, and we're going to do everything we can to prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law.
We still don't know what's wrong with the engine.
But there's nothing wrong with the engine.
Oh, you don't know that. The guy could barely drive stick and was high on meth. Yeah, he probably
It might
jacked it
need a new
up.
clutch. Oh, yeah, so.
Meth, and he was shooting up heroin.
So anyway, if I'd been a little quicker on my feet, it might have a few bullet holes in the truck too, because I was aiming. So anyway, that was the excitement that we had Friday night, and then of course we had the excitement on Saturday with the auction. You know, I made it well known during cotton harvest, we want to upgrade to a baler picker, but as much money as we sank in our picker and as good a shape as it was, I was not planning on buying one for the 2023 harvest. I was going to research them, I was going to look into them and everything, learn everything I could about them. You know, that's why I went and run George's picker, but I was not going to buy one unless the right deal came along. Ultimately, that's what happened yesterday. I did carry a check with me. I always carry a check with me to an auction, just because you just never know what's going to happen. But
Carries me too.
but there's like a 5% chance that I was even going to bid on a cotton picker. Now I figure this one's at an auction, not going to be in great shape. There's a reason that there's a reason it's at an auction. So anyway, there was not much of a crowd there because of the rain. You know, went over and checked this one out, and I started feeling the bars and everything, and I was just surprised how tight everything was. Plus, it's very low dowered, only 1,700 fan hours, even though it's 12 years old, so very low hours. All the other ones I'd looked at online, the next cheapest cotton pickers I found was, I think I found one for $200,000, but it was all the way in South Georgia. No telling what it cost to get it up here. Plus, you'd have to disassemble a lot of it. Had a lot more hours. There was one in the Boot Hill of Missouri, same year model. Had about 700 more hours, and it was priced at $210,000, and I bought this one for $162,500. Anyway, we weren't even going to bid on the picker. Auction truck pulled up to it. They started out the bidding. I think they started out like $125,000. I didn't even jump in. But anyway, it got up to like $140,000. It was down to 2 guys. One guy got out, and the other guy was about to get it. I'm like, he might still get picker. He ain't getting it for $140,000. So then I jumped in, and you know, I really didn't have a price set in my mind, but I know this picker's worth $200,000 based upon what I've seen everywhere else. All the local pickers, this vintage with more hours, running about $300,000. So, you know, I was like, I'll bid it up a little bit. And anyway, he kept on popping back. Every time I bid, he popped right back. I'm like, I'm gonna bid one more time, and then he can have it. Anyway, I bid that one more time, $162,500. He didn't pop back, and the auctioneer said, sold, and pointed to me and Kelly. Kelly screamed for joy.
But I was also standing on the side of him,
Or maybe
staring at the guy who was bidding like this.
Yeah, or maybe her finger screamed for joy, I don't know. But anyway, we'll do a walk around picker and show you what I was looking at and what I saw yesterday. Anyway, first thing I looked at was the heads, and yes, it's nasty. This thing literally came out of the field a few days before they carried it up to the auction, so we got a big cleanup job. But looking at all the spindles, I mean, these spindles are in great shape. You know, not gonna have to replace any spindles that I've seen right there. Filling the bushings in there, I mean, there is literally no slack in those bushings. All the spindle nuts are good. And the next thing we feel is the bars. I mean, it's a little wiggle back and forth. There's literally no movement of the bars inwards and outwards. So these things have been overhauled recently. We got a sticker for Cotton Picker Works, Lake Village, Arkansas, which they are literally almost right next door to Delta Spindle, who does all the work on my heads. So these front heads have been gone through very recently. And looking here on the Dolphers, I mean, these Dolphers are brand new. They got like one season on them. Dolphers are in excellent shape. And looking here on the back, I know it's kind of dim, but the spindles are in good shape. The bushings are fantastic. Now these bars, if you can see, there's a little bit more movement in the bars, but really not very much play. So we can get another few years out of these bars before we need to do a bar job, which is going to run about 25 grand. And then looking back here, the back Dolphers are just as good as the front Dolphers. So on a cotton picker, you know, most of your wear items are right here on the front. They're on the heads. And to do a complete overhaul, bar jobs, replacing a lot of spindles, Dolphers and everything, you're looking at 75, 80 grand. So I'd already planned on whatever picker I buy, I'd already planned that in the budget. I'm gonna have to put that kind of money into a cotton picker. We're not gonna have to on this one. That stuff's already been done. You know, and then looking at the general condition of the heads, I mean, all the snouts are straight, you know, nothing bent up or anything like that. I mean, the front part of the picker is in fantastic condition. Now that's all the part that I knew of. From the cab forward, I know that it's virtually identical to my picker. What I don't know is everything behind the cab. We got the accumulator where it you know, blows the cotton into, and then when the accumulator gets full, it'll send the cotton to the round baler, and all of that I don't know anything about. I know how it works, but I don't know the problem areas. I don't know where to look. I was looking into all of that stuff, but I looked at the belts. The belts look good. You know, and nothing's dinged up. I mean, it looks like it's been taken well care of. So I felt pretty confident about the picker. And actually on this picker, this year model is one of the most desirable ones, because this is one of the pickers that has a tier 3 engine in it. That means it doesn't have all the emission stuff on there. It doesn't have the particulate filter on there. You don't have to use DEF on it. You know, so you don't have all that stuff that we've seen on our farm can give us problems. So we don't have to worry about all that stuff. Also, I know it's kind of hard to see, but one of the big problem areas on the newer John Deere pickers is that they have a variable speed engine fan drive, which has to be replaced usually about once a year, because if the bearings go down, it trashes about a $90,000 engine. Well, this is an older engine, and it's got a fixed fan style, so that's one less problem area we don't have to worry about. So yeah, I would like to have a newer picker, but there are advantages to having older equipment. Don't have all the emission stuff, so really excited about that. But to find a 12-year-old picker in this good of a shape, I mean, they're getting harder and harder to find. But anyway, after we bought the picker, a guy came up to me. This guy actually watches some of our videos. Not going to mention his name, but anyway, he made the jump into a module picker about 4 to 5 years ago, and he walked me all around the baler part, showed me what I need to look for, what I need to service, and all that. And he was really impressed with the condition of the picker too. But anyway, what we're going to do to it, we are going to do some work to it, just preventive maintenance before we carry it to the field next fall. Not going to do much to the heads, but we're going to change all the fluids, the final drives, the gearboxes, you know, all the filters. You know, we're going to change all the fluids and give it a real good maintaining. And he said, just because we don't know the history of the picker or the last time they were changed, but all of these bearings on the feeder part on the accumulator, we're going to change all of them. There's rollers and stuff, just like in a hay baler. There's rollers in the baler part that got internal bearings. He said probably need to go ahead and change all those out, because we don't know if they've been changed or if they're the original bearings. But you know, that's generally the biggest cause of fire on these machines. You got a bearing go out and then sets all this on fire. So just for preventive maintenance, we're going to replace all the bearings, all the lacing in the belts, the cable ties for the lacing, we're going to replace them. If we don't find anything else, that's going to be the extent of it. Now, replacing those bearings and those rollers and everything, that's going to be a pretty good job, because you're working high up, you're working with really heavy stuff, kind of awkward positions. Probably going to put quite a few LED lights on here, get rid of the halogen lights. But I think once we do all of that, I think it'll be ready to go to the field. But you know, we don't know that for a fact. One thing I always hate about used equipment is, you know, especially harvest equipment, you don't really have a chance to test it out until your crop is ready to go. And then when it's ready to go, you've got to go. So, you know, we bought it cheap enough. If it does need some pretty decent size repairs, we got a whole lot of wiggle room to still remain way under budget. But it's just the big unknown factor. You know, there might be gremlins with this picker that we just don't know about. So I got the phone number of the guy that used to own it, so I'm gonna give him a call and talk it over with him real good, see if he can give me any pointers, maybe anything we need to look at, any potential problems or anything like that. But overall, even though I'm really nervous, and what I'm really nervous about is knowing when I buy a piece of equipment like that sprayer, you know, I'll research it. I'll go and look at a bunch of different models and everything, and I'll feel really confident about my purchase. But being as that this one's at an auction, I wasn't planning on buying one this year. So I didn't even go up beforehand and really look at it, because I didn't even think there'd be a decent picker there. It's just when we got there, we looked it over real quick and we could tell, I mean, this is decent shape. You know, kind of a spur of the moment thing, which I absolutely hate doing, and I would advise people against doing it, but we did it. We just thought it's too cheap. You know, if I wait another year, there's a good chance a deal like that wouldn't come along again, and I'd be kicking myself. So we bit the bullet. We now own a baler picker. So as long as this thing doesn't give us problems, cotton harvest next year should be a lot quicker and a lot easier on all of us, especially Kelly. Anyway, I know all y'all are excited for me. Y'all gonna be chomping at the bit to see some cotton harvesting from next year. I'm chomping at the bit to go take it to the field. Kind of wish there was a little cotton left to pick. I go offer to pick it for somebody. But now we got more work cut out for us. You know, we spent 4 days getting our cotton picker cleaned up, and now we got another cotton picker to clean up. I'm sure by the time this video posted, there's a good chance I will have already sold my cotton picker, but I do have it listed up for sale, asking $65,000 for it. So if you're interested in it, I mean, you've been watching us run it here for 3 years now. You know it's a dang good picker. It's in good shape for its age. Just get in touch with me, and you know, if it's still available, I'll leave my email in the description down below. Get in touch with me. We'll be glad to sell it to you. It's most definitely been a whirlwind of a week. You know, traveling to Omaha, Nebraska for 3 days, going to the Farmer to Farmer conference. Got to meet with some. Got to meet with a lot of people. Carter got to get his picture taken with Zach Johnson, a millennial farmer. Come home, that's when the excitement started. truck tore up, truck got stolen, found a picker worth bidding on, and right before the auction truck showed up to the picker, got a call from the sheriff's department that my truck had been found again. So I know these kinds of videos are probably exciting for you as a viewer, but I actually prefer a little less excitement in my life. So hopefully things will calm down now with Christmas only 2 weeks away. We'll be back in a few days with another video, and hopefully in that video y'all will get to meet the new guy. That's right, we got somebody hired. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.